I am wearing makeup. I don't like to look shiny. I made my wife put powder on me on my T-zone. Do I look beautiful?
Did you? I was just wondering if you're going to have to stop and go powder your nose at some point.
I powdered my nose just now, so we should be good for an hour. Like, I don't know how frequently one powders the nose.
Like a woman in a 1950s thing. I don't know. It's whenever you need to go to the bathroom, I guess.
So what'll be
that's what we call
really
it.
Disappointing is if I'm still shiny and I'm wearing makeup. Yeah, that will disappoint me. Today on the Unofficial Shopify podcast, we're answering your questions. We're going to talk, we got a whole bunch of merchant questions, some good ones. We're going to call some experts, bring them in to get their answers on this one, try something a little different. And not one question is about the bad thing. None is about COVID-19 or the pandemic. So if you're sick of hearing about that, we'll save it to just the intro. Mr. Rita?
I'm mad.
Why are you mad?
I'm very mad. I'm so mad. Because what Shopify hobby horse have I been obsessed with for the last, say, 2 to 3 years? What's my, moonshot Shopify thing I was obsessed with?
You desperately wanted to get the MLB, minor league baseball, not major league, minor league, off of whatever legacy janky platform they were using to sell before and onto Shopify.
They were on Cold Fusion.
Cold Fusion,
yes.
Oh my gosh. So definite legacy stuff.
Yes. And as people may know who have seen the video, I have a lot of shirts. I like buying things from minor league teams because they're silly and weird and fun. And their stores are so bad. They were so terrible. Truly some of the worst stores I've ever seen. And I've always wanted this to happen. I don't know how it was going to happen. I was at Unite last year. I was literally corralling Shopify people to be like, listen, here's my idea. We got to do this. I'm not a big enough fish, but you work at Shopify, so you can help make this happen. Just wet my beak a little bit. And they kind of slowly backed away from me, and then I never heard from them ever again. But lo and behold, I went on Minor League Baseball's website last week, and Minor League Baseball is now on Shopify.
So you should be thrilled.
I don't know when it happened. The thing you wanted
to happen happened.
I know. I should be thrilled, and I realize this is stupid, but I'm mad because a company that doesn't know I exist did the thing I wanted them to do, but they didn't involve me in it.
Why
couldn't I have been involved in it?
Maybe all your yelling about the MLB needing to be on Shopify got through to someone, and it happened. You should take full credit for this.
Well, they could have asked me. Well, I don't want to because their current setup also still pretty bad on Shopify, but fixable, but nowhere near the level it should be at.
It's a lot of brands and product, and they just moved from Cold Fusion. I'm sure it's an improvement. But, the version 1 is never amazing of any project. So if they need some consulting,
well,
all right, here.
They should call us. All right, but the other problem is, as an extra bonus fuck you, I looked at the company that did it for them. And I was looking at the other jobs that company did. And one of the other jobs they did is the official Star Trek store that is also on Shopify. And it's like a thing I didn't even know I wanted, and they stole it from me.
I believe we've encountered the official Star Trek store before because I think they used one of our apps. We didn't interact with them at all. I just,
that was the official Gene Roddenberry store.
Oh, okay. My mistake.
So it was like things that Gene Roddenberry owns the rights to, but it's like not official Star Trek things that Viacom owns the rights to.
There's a lot of weird licensing with Star Trek.
Yeah. Well, he did a whole thing where he started his own licensing company in the 70s because he decided he needed more money, and he was a very shady man.
Oh, don't tell me that.
He was not a good dude. But I have a new brand that I want that I discovered yesterday. Marconi Foods, makers of Giardiniera and other great Chicago foods. They're on Shopify. So if you work for Marconi Foods, hire us.
Do you feel their site could be improved?
Get them.
I still think I need to replatform Dot's Pretzels to Shopify.
Oh well, yeah, we
That's
want to
my-
replatforming. Yeah, replatforming dots is a higher priority than optimizing Marconi Foods. Marconi Foods is already on Shopify.
And I'd imagine a lot of people who are now are going direct to consumer, or these like brands that you would typically only think of buying in a grocery store, now selling online, are probably doing pretty well right now. I mean, like my one true panic buy when I was wondering how the heck am I going to get groceries was 6 pounds of Dots pretzels online, because I was like, it's a lot of calories that I could just get shipped to my house.
Yep.
So I would admit, like, that space is probably doing pretty well at the moment. On that topic, a lot of people trapped at home seem to be doing retail therapy. I've seen memes about it. I've seen data about it. Have you bought any, and you were talking about, like, kitschy t-shirts. Have you bought any stupid shit while you're staying at home?
No, I have not bought any stupid shit because, as we may recall, I just bought a house and I'm repainting that house and redoing the floors in this house and getting a new window in the house and all the other house related, and getting carpeting in the basement. So all of my money is being thrown into this house project, leaving no money for fun things.
That's always fun. I enjoyed that stage of home ownership.
I am not.
Come back to me in 6 months. You'll be proud. You'll like it. On the last episode, you had talked about, said, hey, do you do the floors first or paint the walls first? And that turned out to be like the most engaging thing we said on that show based on the number of comments and emails I got about it. So what was the answer? What are you doing?
Well, everyone declared that you got to do the floors first.
And they made a good argument for it.
Yeah, they made a good argument for it. And, I bow to the wisdom of the crowd.
Okay.
By the guys in there painting right now, and we don't have a floors person yet. So we're painting first. That's just, my wife needed something to get done, and the painting thing was the easiest. That she really needed to check a box off of something. A box needed to be checked very desperately.
Okay.
So the painting was the easiest box to get checked.
But the painting,
so that is currently getting checked right now.
Fresh paint always makes a room look better, and fresh paint where you pick the colors. Like, okay, that's an important first step in that it's making the house yours.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, the worst case scenario from what I read from everyone is that they're like, oh, the baseboard's going to look jacked up if they do the floors because, the baseboard gets hit or stained or whatever. It's like, all right, well, I'll just have the guy come out and repaint the baseboards. Like, fine. Just please, God, something get done in this house, because I'll be honest with you, that house was a brown hellhole when I bought it. Everything was brown. It was terrible, and the brown needed to get out of there
Tuscan
in order for me to be happy in my house.
It's Tuscan themed.
It was. You know what? I'm not even kidding. Now that you mention that, and the colorings and the way the wallpaper works and the furniture in this one bathroom, I think it is Tuscan themed.
It's very, very Tuscan
and
themed. It smells of rosemary.
It's so bad. And, ugh.
This is how it goes. You're in like.
I'm talking about the house I bought.
Yes. Well, this is how it goes.
I bought it, and I'm like, this place sucks. What idiot bought this place?
Oh no. So, where have you been getting your news?
I just sit on Twitter all day.
Okay.
And then I check that University of Washington projection thing every day, which is, I think everyone agrees, is bad now. Like all the stats nerds on the internet, all the stats nerds on the internet were like, these guys are idiots, actually. Here's why it's bad. And I was like, okay, great. Well, fuck. And then the University of Texas also started publishing like a projection that no one has said is bad yet. So I'm just going to choose to believe that that's good now. But I don't know. And so yeah, I follow a lot of reporters and actual news sources on Twitter. So that's because Google killed Google Reader, so I can't have RSS feeds anymore.
Yet RSS is still a perfectly cromulent standard that powers podcasts today.
I know, but
that was
they killed
like
Reader.
Google killing Google Reader. This is weird, off topic, but I guess it matters in terms of internet content syndication. Google killing Google Reader effectively killed blogging. It was very bizarre that the number one RSS reader goes away, creates a vacuum in that space, and then at the same time, like we have the rise of social media, and essentially everyone just gives up on blogging. It was very weird.
Well, what it really is, if you were a small fry, like a blogger, you would have people subscribe to your Google Reader feed, and you can put advertising in your feed, or like it was a traffic driver. And you being a small fry, you could drive enough traffic via your RSS feed to survive. Google kills Google Reader. What becomes the default feed of things that every person has access to now?
I don't know, Facebook?
Yeah, the Facebook news feed.
But why would you drive people to
Facebook
that if you're Google? I assume maybe this was to get people on Google Plus, which went nowhere.
No, I don't. Yeah, what was the thing where we were like, well, are we monetizing Google Reader? No. Why are we working on it? It's not making any money. And then they essentially, by abandoning it, they conceded this space to Facebook, and then Facebook took it over, and now everyone is learning that vaccines are terrible because obviously Facebook doesn't give a shit about anything.
I don't even want that in the transcript. Vaccines are terrible. Paul Rita.
And then all the only people that could push things into the feed are like everyone's now chasing the Facebook feed, and Facebook's taking all the ad dollars. And like if Facebook changes the algorithm, like Google Reader is content neutral. If Facebook changes the algorithm, your site implodes and you don't get traffic anymore. Like I've read very persuasive essays that like the reason that internet journalism and writing is like a horrifying clickbait fake news shit show is Google killing Google Reader.
I believe it, especially when you have because it creates that vacuum. It forces everyone into Facebook, in which you are not seeing a subscription. You are seeing what the algorithm decides you see, and it is based on engagement and who pays. And the end result of that was listicles and insane headlines for the sake of gaming click-through rates.
For the sake of exactly.
Yeah. Oh, well. Yeah, it was...
Which means that which pushes everyone, so everyone's using Facebook now, which means, well, we got to buy ads on Facebook. Why bother? Buying the ad on Facebook is better than buying ad on the news website after people click through from Facebook. Just cut out the middleman. So let's just stop buying ads on news sites so news sites don't make any money. Like,
I don't know what the solution is.
There is no solution.
Ugh. I was hoping that you would have some brilliant...
I went over my solution a couple weeks.
Some brilliant insight.
No, my brilliant solution I talked about a couple weeks ago when we were talking about Libra was that I was like, there needs to be a universal cryptocurrency wallet in everyone's browser so that they can get charged like 5 cents for every article they read.
Oh, okay.
But
people would just be up in arms about that.
We need to invent a cryptocurrency. We need to have every browser adhere to that standard. We need to have people put money into it. We need all the news websites to like write their part on the back end. We need to write an entirely new financial transaction system so that transaction can go through without, Visa swooping in and being like, by the way, moving 5 cents costs us 4 cents. Sorry. So yeah, that'll never happen. It'll happen, and then I'll take my flying car to George Jetson's house, and everything will be fine.
Man, I don't even drive a car anymore. Like, I drive once a week, and it feels weird. Like,
I know, I'm not, and it's...
The last several times I started the car, it was like low battery. It was getting mad at me. I had to hook it up to a battery charger.
Oh, shit.
Because I wasn't driving enough.
Yeah, I have to drive back and forth to the house to like handle stuff, so I'm doing some driving, but I'm not. Feel like these gas prices are going to waste.
Well, that's why they're low. It's kind of a catch-22. And I'll tell you right now, if you're having this brilliant idea of like, I should store some gasoline. Aside from that being very dangerous, the issue with gasoline is it loves to absorb moisture. So trying to store gasoline long-term in large quantity, you're just going to end up wrecking your car.
Well, and I'm like, there's got to be some guy who owns like a weird old abandoned mine who should be buying all this negative dollar gas and just storing it for 6 months.
Like that.
But I don't think they let you do that.
I don't think so. I think when you rolled up with like to the gas station with a trailer of 55-gallon drums, eyebrows would be raised. My source for news has become, news that doesn't make me want to scream, has become Klaviyo's Business Daily Insights. So they've got their data, and we talked about this with Jake Cohen on a bonus episode of the podcast a couple weeks ago. They've got their data from all their stores and their customers and subscribers. They also are doing their own research and surveys, where they do a consumer survey and they do a business survey. And the thing's really fascinating. Every day you have to take the survey, ideally, and then they send you the insights the next day for the previous day. And Jake is now doing videos where he interprets it that are very interesting. Or if you just want to be lazy, they send you just all right, here's 3 bullet points for each day with trends or observations. And I find it really interesting. And it's purely e-commerce and consumer sentiment. But they said, here I'm looking at the most recent one. Many brands have seen soft sales in March, which was the beginning of the pandemic in the US, but are now seeing their sales increase. And paid social media continues to be a helpful revenue-driving tool for apparel and accessories brands. Cool. So that's been keeping me sane. And then they dive deeper into it. But I'll include the link to that in the show notes, or if you just go to klaviyo.com, it's always in the announcement bar. But that's been my e-commerce business daily news source. Keep my finger on the pulse of e-com.
Because it's good news. Because everyone's doing good. That's the shining. I said the only thing keeping me sane right now is the fact that our business is pretty much unchanged.
Yes, and March was scary, and I thought we'll lean on our recurring revenue sources, which is the podcast and our app revenue. But we saw in the beginning of March we had a bunch of uninstalls, but then the installs started coming back, and the podcast listenership was largely unchanged. And then no client fired us, no client paused a project, and they kept paying their invoices. And now in April, it's like business as usual again. It's starting to feel like, and part of it's getting back into a routine. And I say this with total gratitude, of course. I absolutely, I'm thrilled and grateful and happy that we're in this position, that we're lucky to be in e-commerce and in a position where business continues roughly as usual. It's starting to feel like, but I realize, that's certainly not the case for everyone, especially a lot of other B2B businesses struggled. But I've also seen a lot of people who got hit pivoting. That's very encouraging. And we've also seen people do unbelievably successful product launches. I'd ask you hey, did you buy any stupid crap for your house? Well, I bought a bunch of home goods, but I've also I've seen people, several of our clients do new product launches and do really well, as well or better than what they would have normally done or what you would have normally expected pre-pandemic. So I think there's a lot of people are suffering right now. There's no doubt about it. But there's also, a group of people who essentially their income was unchanged. Now they're at home shopping online and they're not going out, so they have more disposable income. Okay, overall, let's assume that spending is going to go down. Safe bet. But e-commerce was only 8% of total retail. It's going to go way up because people can't go to a physical store. So if you're one of those e-com merchants, this is an incredible position. And then, of course, in this Klaviyo observation, paid social media the costs are down 15 to 20%. So suddenly it's what? Ads are easier. They're cheaper. They're easier. There's more eyeballs on social media. And people are buying because they don't have another outlet. So I don't think it's all bad.
No, I totally agree. Yeah. If you're in the lucky position to be selling something that people can use in their house, it's not luggage for the vacations you're going on. And then you can also buy Facebook ads for it, and the main thing holding you back from Facebook ads was Facebook ads are so expensive right now. You're just killing it. You're doing it great because Facebook ad rates have cratered. People are sitting around the house doing puzzles and whatever, and you're just making bank.
And I had said all right, March our professional services, we were not seeing new work, and in April said it started to pick back up. And by that third week in April, it feels like normal again. And
I mean, yeah, from what I've been seeing, we're totally normal in terms of new applications and all that sort of stuff.
And I think, what's going on there is everyone said in March, everyone said, all right, hold up. Let's wait and see what happens here. And maybe we have to adjust. Maybe we have to figure some things out. And certainly we did. But by April, you're starting to get used to new normal. And so I think people are getting more comfortable, making business decisions and investing again in their businesses. So I want to do these listener Q&A questions.
All right, yeah, let's get to it. We've killed more than enough time.
I know. That intro was too long. I apologize. All right, here's an easy one. Rachel Reed asks, TikTok, is it time? I see what you did there, Rachel. I like it.
I'm 39 and thus cannot give an opinion on this. I am too old.
I'm 37, and I also feel like I don't know what I would do with TikTok. However, the social media thing right now, everybody's at home, engagement's super high. So if you were going to attempt a new social media platform and it was something you wanted to experiment with, it was something you said, all right, I just want to experiment with this one. Okay, why? I wouldn't pick any other than TikTok at the moment because that's the hottest thing going. And I would try to make that work.
I think, all right, so let's think it through. Is it something that you can make a fun, quick video out of? Yes. I mean, it's like, say you're selling like cooking implements or whatever. If you can make like a weird, funny video about your cool, weird cooking implement, I think you could put that on TikTok and I guess build awareness. I don't know. How do you directly buy off of TikTok? Do you have to like put in a link? Can they click on it? Is there some way to purchase through it?
I have no idea.
Or you just like, yeah, is it like a awareness building? But I think
it's more brand
it's video.
awareness.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's video. So if you can make cool, quick, fun videos like Vines or whatever, then I think that's an opportunity for you to look at.
If you're already comfortable, especially with a medium like Instagram or Facebook stories or Snapchat, you already have the skills, you already know what to do with TikTok. Like you have enough to get going and starting to get posting regularly and then see what sticks, see what kind of things get engagement on that platform.
Yeah, I feel like if you're already posting stuff on Instagram, especially Instagram stories, you just repurpose that for TikTok. I mean, that seems possible in my head. That seems like that should be something you could do.
I would hope so. Yeah. And then Rachel's got a second question, unrelated though. She says, let's hear everything loyalty programs. Experience with adding a loyalty program. Best approach. Which incentives work? Other stores doing this well? Etc. I only got... we gotta get your favorite Italian plumber to use as a loyalty program. Smile.io, or as you pronounce it,
it's Smiley.io.
Smiley.io.
And they should get they should contact Nintendo and have him go, it's a me, Smiley.
This'll go well
every time you go on their website.
Oh, that'll be great. So there's a few loyalty programs on Shopify. Like there's Swell rewards that got bought by Yotpo, Loyalty Lion, and Smile.io. There's probably not a wrong choice. The one I'm comfortable with personally is Smile.io. I have the most experience with it. I've never had a bad experience with it. The support is good, and it's insanely easy to set up because it's just a widget launcher that you easily customize. So if you want like a no-code solution to this that works well, Smile.io. If you want a cool example of it, Hoonigan is pretty all in on Smile for their loyalty program. And the only thing like they add that's not specifically part of Smile is they have like a really nice explainer page that's like, okay, this is what you get out of our loyalty program. And when people talk about loyalty programs, I was like, well, all right. And they just like focus on the explainer page. Most people don't even have an explainer page. You look the stuff up in the loyalty program if you've joined. But like that has nothing to do with the app. I mean, that's where you'd want like a page builder, like a Shogun or something. But yeah, I would say there's probably not a wrong choice, but experience and personal preference and bias, I like Smile. The one catch with these things, I mean, you do have to promote it. You can't just like put it up there and expect it will just work for you. Certainly you want it as part of your welcome sequence. You want it as part of your post-purchase sequence to try and get people in it. And it'll integrate with Klaviyo so that you can make sure you're not sending people, things inviting them to the loyalty program if they're already a member.
Well, and I mean, yeah, can you do a thing where it's like you can email your list and we're like, hey, we're starting a loyalty program. If you sign up for it, we'll give you, 200 free points or whatever to like get people started on it.
I believe so.
Of previous buyers.
Smile's pretty flexible in the way it dishes out points. Because like on Hoonigan, we did it, like they named, Smile's very into branding. So like we named the different programs. So instead of like bronze, silver, gold, we went with like car upgrade terms where it's like stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. And you get different, like there's different, I think it issues you a coupon code at each time you hit each stage. And it's based on like your total lifetime spend. I think that's how they did it. They have an explainer page. It'll tell you how they did it. And that's all in Smile. There's nothing like weird or custom about it. All right. So short answer, Smile. And just make Smile, reward your best customers, and make sure you do a decent job of promoting it and explaining it. Let's see what we got here. Ooh. Let's do Mick Irving. Mick Irving asks, what about SEO apps versus DIY SEO versus using a consultant for SEO? For this one, I'm sure we both have opinions, but why don't we ask the expert? I want to call and loop in Rianne Butler, who is just on to talk SEO recently.
Hello.
Hey, Rianne, how you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. So you can hear me. This is actually working.
This is working.
Paul, can you hear her?
I can hear her, yes.
Can you hear Paul, Rianne?
I can hear Paul.
Wow. Technology. This is amazing. All right. We have an SEO question for you that we could fumble through, but you're the expert. So Mick Irving asks, what about SEO apps versus DIY SEO versus using a consultant for SEO? It sounds like he's looking for the silver bullet in his SEO strategy. What do you say to this?
Okay, so what I say to this is twofold, and it depends on your financial position as an entrepreneur and as a company. In a perfect world, you can find a phenomenal SEO consultant who, frankly, will probably use some SEO apps in order to best implement their SEO strategy, right? But a good SEO consultant costs a lot of money, and if they don't cost a lot of money, they're not that good. And that's where I think it's important to realize a lot of SEO can be learned, and then you can implement your DIY strategy through use of a good app. Or, you know what, you can use the DIY strategy on your own, and you're going to have limited functionality unless you can code. But ultimately, I believe that a lot of SEO can be self-taught.
Okay.
However, if you're like a major brand, like if you're a plus store and you're selling, 10, 20, 30 million, and you're like trying to rank up against Nike, etc., that's a different story.
So whether or not I do it myself or hire a consultant, an app is still going to be involved. An app is just the tool here. It's not doing the work for me.
Absolutely. The app is the tool. It doesn't do the work for you.
And then you at that point, you either have to decide, I need to hire a consultant to tell me what to do, or a consultant to tell me what to do and then do it. And then either you do the entire thing DIY, or I use the consultant's advice to DIY it.
Absolutely, and a good thing to do if you're on a budget is to hire a consultant to do a kind of a strategy plan for you, and then you implement the plan yourself. Okay. So that way you're not hiring the consultant, and paying for every hour that they're working on your store, and you're just hiring for that initial action plan.
Gotcha. Okay, perfect. I think that answers the question.
Awesome, sounds good.
What's your Twitter? Plug your Twitter.
Rian Katie, RhianKatie.
Perfect. Thank you, Rianne.
Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
Thanks, Rianne.
Cool. I can't believe that worked.
Yeah. Okay. I'm honestly shocked. I thought this was going to be a shit show.
So tell me, fine sir, which question do you want to do next? You pick a question.
Dylan Glenn wants to know what gear, setup, and software you use to do a remote podcast with video. So what I have going on, Kurt and I video chat with each other. We did Skype 2 weeks ago. I think we did Skype twice. Today we're trying Slack because we're trying to get the dropouts so we can at least get a little better rapport with each other going. And while we're both video chatting with each other, we both have our iPhones set up and are recording our own video in our house. And we each are running Audacity locally on our machines and are speaking into our podcast mics and recording locally. And then we throw that all into a big pot on Dropbox and everyone edits them all together.
So I think I've gotten this question.
Am I right or am I wrong?
Yeah, that's exactly right. We've gotten this question before. Hey, what's the setup? How are you doing this remote system? So for the audio gear itself, you could find that at kurtelster.com/gear. I listed here's the setup we're using. I walk through why we chose those that microphone, et cetera, et cetera. But for the video,
we just ripped it out of the office and brought it here.
So Paul and I are doing a video call so we could see each other, but you're not getting the audio or the video from the video call, and what you're seeing is the local stuff. So we just independently, separately have a camera set up, and then we're also recording the audio locally. The advantage there is you're not dealing with the internet and compression, and then all of that just goes in a Dropbox folder, and a fine gentleman named Matt Brody edits it for us. And then he does the YouTube episode, which does not get a ton of views, but more importantly, he makes a trailer for it, and he makes, which that helps us increase click-through rate on social media, and he does a series of cut downs where it's just individual portions of the show, and those I could post to social media. So the full YouTube episode is actually not the valuable part. The valuable part is the individual chunks for social media.
Yeah, and then the audio is just I grab Kurt's audio, and I already have my local audio, and I just do our standard editing in Audacity, and I pop the ads in and do all that setup.
Very good.
But instead of doing it at the office, I'm doing it at home.
Similar to the Smile offer, John Carlson, a.k.a. Forrester John. I wish everyone had a cool nickname. Forrester John. Forrester John says, I had a website approach me and ask if they could promote my product and have an affiliate link in their site. So far, I've been denying all offers for others to sell my product in stores. This is my first affiliate offer. Am I missing out if I say no to these offers? What are the pros and cons of affiliates? How do I get started? What would I pay them per transaction? What app would I install? Well, so similar to the loyalty question, you want to use one of several apps. My personal preference is Reversion. I've used it. I like it. I met the guys who made it. They're super cool. They're very genuine. And I've set this thing up for several stores, big and small. I've also been a affiliate on the receiving end, getting payouts from Reversion. So I have total faith in the product. I know it does exactly what it says it'll do. And so Reversion's really easy to set up, and and it gives you a couple options. People can use a coupon code to promote your site. So let's say some sites all right, we review tree cutting gear. I'm guessing Forrester John sells tree cutting supplies. And right? That's what I'm going with.
Of course.
Yes. And then so there's a website that reviews chainsaws, and they're going to say, all right, well, here's our preference for chainsaw, and here's where you should buy it from. And then that's a referral link. Sort of like how the wire cutter works. I would say if you have, normally I think the con to a referral program is most people get the app, set it up, and then just expect affiliates to show up and sign up. You actually are in a very unusual position if you have people just approaching you going, hey, please let us promote your stuff with an affiliate link on our website. I don't see the risk. I don't see the con. The hard part just got done for you. So set up Reversion and let these people sell for you. As for the cut they get, that's going to depend on the product, the niche, the industry. There's a lot there. A mattress company where it's hyper competitive, they're going to be willing to pay a lot more for a mattress sale. Someone buys an $800 mattress, the payout on that might be up to $200 for the affiliate. It could get very high. Whereas like Amazon, my affiliate links, depending on the category I'm in, they're going to be 2 to 8%. 8% was pretty good. They used to do it for a lot more, was 8%. So that's probably the number I would look at right now. But it's gonna, if you're manufacturing versus drop shipping, obviously your margins are very different. So try to use common sense. I would say like 8% would be a perfectly good starting point, where both sides are going to be happy.
Is that 8% of revenue or 8% of profit?
Well, Refersion can't calculate profit, so it's 8% of the total sale. It's 8%
of the sale price.
Which, if you're drop shipping, I mean, that might eat up most of the profit.
That might kill you.
Yeah. So it depends. I mean, you could do 5%, but you got to figure it out. At the same time, like on those particular purchases, you're probably not advertising to a new cold customer, so you've got a lower cost of goods sold there. Like it's an advertising channel. But yeah, 100% Refersion all day long. I like it.
Jesse Tutt asks, I'm getting 15,000 visitors a month,
Congrats.
yet barely any sales. Yeah. It's a tight market, but I feel something obvious is wrong, and his website is gottasleep.com. He sells mattresses.
Oh, the problem is that he's selling mattresses. It's just...
The problem is he's selling mattresses. It's just like, you could see, go to any local strip mall, you could see how many mattress stores there are.
So not only is
It's
mattresses
so
brutally competitive, and I could buy from a place in a strip mall where like there could be 4 in the outlot at one strip mall kind of thing. There's a mattress firm like every 20 feet where I live, I swear. And so you've got that problem. Then you also have all these direct-to-consumer brands that sell online and don't make any money doing it. That's very hard to compete with. Someone who's like actively shooting themselves in the foot every time they make a sale, like Casper. When you go through that Casper IPO, it's complete insanity. So you got to compete with that. And those, on the topic of affiliates, those are the guys that are spending a ton on affiliates. So when you Google the best mattress online, you're going to find a bunch of review sites that are really just affiliate marketing schemes. So like,
wasn't there like a
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. Wasn't there like a big expose of like the online mattress industry and like the web of deceit and affiliate links and all that stuff?
Yes, and it's fascinating. And anytime someone
crazy.
says, I want to start a mattress store, I send it to them.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Just fundamentally, you're in a very competitive space. I mean, it would be if you said, hey, Kurt, do you want to try and start and succeed with a mattress store or a porn site? It would be a tough choice. I would generally have to think hard about that.
See, at least in a porn site, we can find an underserved niche in pornography.
It was supposed to be a throwaway comment.
And then work that niche. But a mattress is a mattress. I mean, different kinds of porn. It's very different audiences.
For God's sake. This was a family show. I don't even know what porn is. It was a fun word to say.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, his store first off, he's in a terrible hard industry. Like he's really I don't know where he's getting this traffic from. So I'm like, okay, well, is the traffic bad?
Yeah, because he's getting
his store,
500 people a day.
Store
it's nothing to sneeze at.
His store itself doesn't look that bad. I see some problems with it in that his store is very, very Canadian focused. So if I'm in America and I end up on this store, I'm probably not going to buy from here because all the money's in Canadian. They talk about how the free shipping is everywhere in Canada. They're Canadian-made mattresses and all this sort of stuff. It's like, okay, I shouldn't buy here because I got to pay. It's still like semi-international, I guess, is the way I would think about it.
Yeah, for sure that's a concern. Yeah, I caught that too, that it had that currency issue. So if they're driving a lot of U.S. traffic to a store that's predominantly serving Canada, okay, that, like, you may have identified the problem right there. When questions like this come up, though, I always go straight to, we have to ask the people who aren't buying. So I want live chat on that site, 100%. I need a live chat widget that's manned by someone so that we could bust objections in real time. And then we can go back when we have 30 days of data and go, okay, what was the number one question? What was the number one thing stopping people from buying? And then at the same time, you could do that as an exit intent pop-up. And I love Hotjar for this. I swear every episode I make this suggestion. Get Hotjar, get the free plan, so this will cost you $0. Use it to run an exit intent pop-up on desktop. They either call it a poll or a survey. It's one of the two. One is like for people coming to the site, one's for people leaving. Just play with it. And on desktop, when they go to exit, so when the mouse goes up out of the browser viewport, a window pops open and you ask them one question. You just say, if you didn't make a purchase today, why not? Because right now you're only hearing from the people who buy. We need to talk to the people who don't buy, right? And those are the two good ways to do it, is that live chat and that Hotjar exit intent pop-up. And they are not mutually exclusive. You could do both. And once you know, like, there are these consistent complaints or consistent objections coming in, great, you could start addressing those on the website. At the same time, DTC, we talked about this before, DTC sites are really, really nice on design and content. So, like, that's what your competition is. I mean, you have to, more than ever with a mattress site, you got to really polish it to be at the level that, like, a Casper is. Even though they're burning money, it's still a beautiful website.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, this site is fine. It's not killing you, but it's not doing anything special. I really think it's too much Canadian branding, because if you drove an American to the store, it's like, okay, I'm going to go over let's go over the, what is, like, my browser frozen? If you go over, like, the navigation, pillows Canada, Pillow Protector Canada, Cooling Pillow Protector Canada, bedding, Mattress Protector Canada, Weighted Blanket Canada, Duvet Canada. Canada is in the name of every single thing in the navigation.
So that's, like, an SEO play.
Do these come stuffed with hockey pucks and maple leaves? Like, why is this like this?
All the Canadian listeners are like, I'm leaving a 1-star review now.
He's like, yo, you fucking asshole. Oh, you fucking assholes, eh?
Oh my God. This is a family show, and you're yelling about porn and swearing. It's inappropriate.
The pricing, like, you know, it's $850 Canadian, which is a very, that's very competitive. You know, $600 for a good queen size mattress. That's competitive and normal. But $850 Canadian is $600. But if I didn't know that and I just saw the mattress was $850, I would be like, oh my God, I'm not paying that much.
I agree. Yeah, no, I mean, that currency thing is such an easy objection to fix. However, we don't know that they're necessarily sending U.S. people to the site. But yeah, that, like, when the SEO keyword stuffing becomes readily apparent like that, that's a bad look. Certainly you want, ideally, if I land on a site, I want it to match my native currency. Bold multi-currency could do that. It uses geolocation to figure it out. I'm sure there's other apps, but that's the one I'm familiar with. And then there's...
It looks like in the header of this theme, it has a currency converter, and it's set to USD.
And it's not... Oh, so it's not working for you.
Yeah, it's not working,
Whoops.
But, like, the price itself...
Okay.
I don't know.
And then overall, it would behoove you to hire a designer just to, like, polish up the graphics and maybe establish some brand guidelines for the website that just make it look a little cleaner. Like, you don't necessarily need an e-commerce CRO UX design expert. A graphic designer still understands basic design and can polish up, because you've got, like, the bare bones. The foundation is good. We just need someone to come in and pick the paint colors, kind of thing. Similar to Paul's brown Tuscan house. Actually, like, he's dumping on this house, but I've seen the photos of it. It's extremely nice. They remodeled everything before they moved out. Oh no, very nice house.
I mean, I don't. Well, I shouldn't speak out of turn, but no, they did a trash job. It's terrible. They hired some weird guy. Like, the house was like.
Okay, I said it looked good. I didn't say, like, the shower had to work.
No, the shower actually doesn't work. Funny you should mention.
I know, but it looks really amazing.
My favorite thing is that the refrigerator is a Viking.
Oh, see, so that's a very nice brand. This is top shelf.
Yeah, You know what it is? A Viking refrigerator is a really nice brand. Problem is, it's not a Viking refrigerator. It's actually a KitchenAid. She bought a Viking label off of eBay and glued it onto the refrigerator.
No, I thought that I was going to
Yes.
make that joke, and I decided not to. I did not
Even
realize that's
better-
where you were going with this.
That's literally what happened. Even better, if you go in the fridge and look at the label in the refrigerator, she took a Sharpie and scratched out KitchenAid.
You know, really, she could have used a heat gun to remove the sticker.
And so like the neighbors are coming over, and the neighbors are like, "Oh, we're your new neighbors," and we're like, "Hi." And they're like, "Oh, you guys got a great house. They put so much work into that house. They remodeled it. They really loved it and put in so much effort." And I'm biting my tongue not to be like, "No, they didn't. It's all surface level bullshit. The house is falling apart."
She replaced the badge on a KitchenAid fridge. That's amazing. That was so good. I just typed it to my wife. I was like, I have an idea.
Oh yeah, like the furnace was like leaking carbon monoxide. It was covered in duct tape.
All right. I got another call-in question. I want to get
All right.
Kurt Bullock to answer a Facebook ads question for us. And Cara Doglio says, if I haven't run many paid ads on Facebook, and those I have done have been one-offs with no strategy, what's the bare minimum you would start with? Well, I think, my short answer is, when in doubt, remarketing. Focus on the warm traffic that's already visited the site but hasn't bought, because it is dramatically easier than trying to get cold traffic to convert. And for content, the dynamic ads make life a lot easier. You get to be less creative with it. So I think it's a good place to start. But why don't we call Mr. Kurt Bullock and see what he has to say on the topic?
Well, are you searching your email for Kurt? Isn't that
That's
can't you just do
problematic.
that?
All emails say Kurt.
Hello,
Mr. Kurt Bullock.
Mr. Elster.
All right, you can hear us. Good. So I've got
Yep.
a Facebook question for you that I would love for you to give me your thoughts on. Kara asks, she says, if I haven't run many paid ads on Facebook, and those I have done have been one-offs with no strategy, what's the bare minimum you would start with?
Good question. Okay. So bare minimum, she's probably talking about like the number of ads and maybe the budget, would you assume?
I would say like the format of the ads, like what the probably high level strategy and budget. Where do you start? And my answer was, I would just limit myself to remarketing at first, because it's a lot easier to target a warm audience, and it's coming up with creative for a dynamic product ad is a lot less of a hassle than like a cold traffic ad. But I like the minimum budget is a common question as well.
Yeah. So I agree with you. If you're just going for the lowest hanging fruit, I would just start with like a 30-day website visitor retargeting audience and run with that, just like you outlined. If let's say that we're going to prospecting, I find there's a lot of questions with prospecting. I would make a conversion campaign optimized for purchase. And if it's a new ad account, which it sounds like it hasn't got much history behind it, then I would probably start by targeting interest. And so I would take, so that you can track which interests are working well and which ones aren't, I'd take one interest per ad set. So if you want to test 3 different interests against each other, then you would have 3 ad sets. Is that making sense so far?
Yes.
And then I would put, just to keep it simple, 2 ads, the same 2 ads in each of those ad sets, right? And then I would really, with those 2 ads, I would keep the copy the same in both ads and just change the image in each of them.
Okay.
So that you're kind of limiting the number of variables. So just pick 2 images. I would start with square images. Square shows across Facebook and Instagram really well and fits in pretty much all placements. And then I would I'd run those ads for 5 days and choose a winning ad. As far as budget,
So you essentially just gave
There's
us like, here's the beginner's crash course in A/B testing your ads. Just test your way to success. Because you're saying run 2 ads, keep everything the same except for the image. Make sure they're even the same ratio. Just use square images to make your life easy. And then whichever one performs better, okay, use that one. And then do like wash, rinse, repeat?
Exactly.
Okay.
As far as the budget, that's a question that is, I hear all the time. There is, Facebook, what they're recommending, which, I would say that's the optimal end of the spectrum. And then there's the reality of when you're starting, you don't want to blow a whole bunch of money. Facebook says, hey, you should be trying to aim for 50 purchases a week. Well, that can be a really big budget. And so when I'm testing, the way I usually think about it is a multiple of your average order value. So let's say that you've got a $30 average order value.
Okay.
Then I would just set each of those 3 ad sets at the minimum. Make sure that you're spending at least your average order value as your daily budget. And the goal there is to be getting at least 1 purchase every day. And then as you start to see success, you increase your budget closer and closer to that 50 a week, which if you break that down by 7 days is, roughly 7 purchases a week. So 7 times your average order value is what you would be aiming for. But just start with 1 times your average order value as your budget, and that will get you started.
Okay. That's great. I love any time we could take something that feels squishy and subjective and scary, like what budget should I pick, and have like, all right, here is a rule of thumb, a good starting point. And it's 1.5x your average order value for what time period is that?
So I would run it for 5 days if you're going to be doing it for 1 extra average order value or 1.5 for average order value. If you increase your spend, you can run it for a shorter amount of time. But if you're just going to be doing 1 extra AOV, then I would run that for 5 to 7 days.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other last minute beginner tips?
Let's see. When you're picking your images, I would try and pick 2 pretty different concepts with your images so that you can test, so that you can get some learnings from them, as opposed to just taking your product and switching the color, color blue and color red background. I would shift it entirely to come up with a different concept so that you can start to figure out, clarity comes from the distinctions that you make between those, right? And you see which one works better and you can kind of learn, okay, this is the direction I should be headed. So that would be my next step.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, that's perfect. Thank you, Mr. Bullock. I'll let you go.
Good. All right, nice talking to you guys.
Stay safe. We got 2 more, and then we're gonna call it a day. All right, we got Braden Steffenson asks, I recently installed the Jason LD app and want to add a product reviews app next that will help with SEO rich snippets, but there seems to be so many options. I was initially going to go with Shopify reviews app, but it seems to have terrible reviews. Help! Okay. So some background. Jason LD app is from Little Stream Software, Eric Davis. He was a guest on the show. It's a one-time cost app. I think it's $300. But what it does is fix the rich snippet structured data in your theme and make sure it stays fixed. And that's it. It does one thing really well. And the advantage to doing that, you go, well, why would I care? The advantage to doing that is when you Google something and the item in the search ranking has like extra elements in it, say review stars or the phrase in stock. That's rich snippet data. That's what JSON LD is doing. It's really cool when you can have those review stars in the search ranking, because it radically increases click-through rate. When I search for something, I find something that sounds like what I want, and there's a 5-star indicator on there. So that's what he's trying to get. And to do it, obviously you have to have a reviews app. Well, JSON LD works with, there's a series of apps it will work with. It auto-detects it, and then figures it out from there. Shopify product reviews is free. And the free Shopify apps are often, they're basic. They just get the job done, and you're good to go. The reason that product reviews app has negative reviews is because it doesn't send emails requesting reviews. So I think that's what people are pushing back on. I asked Eric Davis, who makes the app in question, I said, what's your preference? He goes, oh, I like Shopify product reviews. It's simple, it's free, and it works. So you could give that a shot as long as you are sending out some kind of email requesting reviews. You just have to make sure you're doing that. If you don't want to mess with that or you want something fancier, I really like Stamped. I don't know why. I've just, of all the apps I've used, it's the one that I feel the most comfortable with. Paul, from an installation management standpoint in themes, which of these reviews app makes your skin crawl the least?
Well, no, I mean, Stamped and the Shopify Reviews app are both fine. In fact, most themes now have the Shopify Reviews app code sort of pre-installed, like it's ready to go. It's just, it's ready for it. And I think Stamped either can work off of that, or it's literally Stamped is very similar. It's just one div. You put it in the same spot, and it's fine. Yotpo is kind of a pain in the ass, but we also don't like Yotpo anyway because they jack their prices through the roof, and it's not worth it.
They're all good, and Yotpo has some exclusive features. It's also the most expensive reviews app by far. And for that reason, like, it used to be the go-to. If you'd ask in like a Facebook group, hey, which reviews app should I do? People loved Yotpo. And then, they raised prices, which entirely their right to do. But that's what people started looking at. Stamped and Judge Me. I'd say, like, those are... Shopify product reviews is free and easy, and that's great. The biggest downside is it doesn't send emails on its own. Stamped, I think, is very good. Judge Me is very good. Yotpo is very good, but it got some enterprise features that really push the price up.
Yeah, from my perspective, they're all pretty much the same. I mean, it's all stored in a meta field on the product, and then it's just there's just like one target div in the code that it looks for and then pops the appropriate stuff in. So, I mean, they're all very easy and very simple from that perspective.
Final question. Christian Baldi Garcia asks, what are the top 3 things you would do to grow your following or list of starting a new store from scratch on a low budget of, say, around $200 a month? Thank you in advance. A thought provoker.
How about this? Create a killer piece of content that helps people somehow with whatever your product is or what it does or something. A helpful piece of content, you give it away. The only cost is they got to give their email. Or you just give it away, and then when they go on your site to read it, you cookie them, and then you could remarket to them later.
Well, so he's got let's say that, I'm going to say this $200 a month budget is a firm budget that also includes, like, the software. So, because you're going to spend, probably $79 a month on Shopify. Maybe you're on a lower tier plan. But all right, we got that cost. If there's any app costs for Shopify, those are like $5 to $20 a pop. So rapidly, you are going to burn through this $200 a month budget. And so I don't want to do anything with paid advertising. And I don't know that we could do anything with paying influencers. But maybe what we could do here, so that I think the focus is going to be on content. And I like your idea, depending on the space, ideally, maybe this is like built around some hobby, niche, or passion that you love, some interest you have. I hope so. Maybe it's around RC cars. I think that's a great example for this is a hobby, and then the hobbyists get into very high dollar purchases. I have a $70 RC car. You could easily spend $1,000 building an RC car. So let's say we start Kurt's RC car store, but I'm not going to spend a lot of money on advertising the thing. What I would do is I would use, my passion and interest and share that. I'd work in public on social media, try and get an audience there. But ideally, I'd try to write ultimate guide content. So it'd be like, here's how to upgrade X. Here's how to get your 1/8 scale car to 70 miles an hour. Here are options for that. And then those articles, I could have a piece of YouTube video in there in which I walk through it. And then the text that goes with it that's like a step-by-step that walks through it. So now I've got 2 pieces of content out of this. And then in there I can link to my products. I could then also do, to Paul's point, a content upgrade. This is where, all right, if you want to download, like, hey, here's the video, hey, here's how to do it, and here's the step-by-step guide. But if you want the step-by-step guide with pictures, that's a PDF download, and then we have an opt-in form. And then you enter your email, and then it sends it to them, or it redirects them to the PDF that they could download. Okay, cool. Now we've got social media content. We've got organic content for our SEO play to try and get Google results. And later down the road, we can retarget people who visit that article with relevant products that we mentioned in the article. And we can, ideally, we're building that email list using this content upgrade. Maybe that's a form embedded in the page. That'd be really cool. But maybe you don't want to mess with that. It could be a pop-up like welcome or on scroll. Like they get halfway through, hey, you want the whole article with photos as a PDF? Enter your email. I think that would be very clever. And once we got that far, that's a pretty good strategy. This is going to be time-consuming to do. But hopefully, your passion is what allows you to do this. And like the first one you're not gonna publish it and get a ton of traffic. This is gonna be a thing you do weekly for 60 days or 6 months before we start to get traction and see things moving. What you could also do is maybe like if you establish yourself as having a general interest and influence in this space, and you start building a social media audience. Maybe you could reach out to other influencers in the space. Ideally, micro-influencers, someone with like under 20,000 followers, like 5 to 15 would be great. And say, hey, would you see if you could build a natural relationship with them and get them to share the content? And maybe even instead of, you can't necessarily pay them in cash, maybe you could pay them with product. That's extremely common in that influencer space. So I think that would be the strategy I take. I took what you started with and ran with it.
Yeah, I just, I'm hanging out.
Yeah. Anything else, Mr. Rita? We covered a lot on this
I'm
episode.
good.
I like the guest
Yeah,
calling
there's a
thing.
lot.
I thought that was cool.
Oh yeah, that's a game changer now. We're doing that every week.
Yeah, that's
we're
like
gonna put
super
in
pro.
we're gonna put in even less effort.
Maybe we have people. We call people. Like people ask questions. Like because there is a good discussion question from John Murphy where he bought a second store in addition to his first store, and he gave me a full explanation on it, but I still didn't quite get it, and it would have been us like making a lot of guesswork. Or same with like this Christian Baldy Garcia question I just did. Like to make the answer work, I had to make up an example, but this could be like wildly different from what he's actually doing. If I could call people on the show and like we talk through it with them for 10 minutes and then move on, that might be a really cool format.
Well, first of all, we all know you just want to turn this show into car talk. Second of all,
click and clack, the Tappet brothers.
Yes. Second of all, I think that's good though because these people are asking very specific questions about themselves, but when we kind of just have to go off on it, we then generalize it more, which makes it better for our general audience. Is the way I see it.
Okay, but when was the last time you watched Frasier? 90s NBC sitcom Frasier.
A lot. Oh, all right. You want something else I'm mad about?
That's what I'm going
Can I tell
for.
you something else I'm mad about? All right. So I pay for CBS All Access because I got to watch my Star Treks. And so CBS All Access has Cheers, Frasier, like Caroline in the City, all these NBC shows because they were produced by like Paramount Television, which is now owned by CBS. So it's like, even though all those shows famously aired on NBC, they're on the CBS streaming app, which I think is bull. And there should be a federal law stating that shows can only stream on the network that aired them because it's too confusing.
I know. I use the Apple TV and I just go watch and I name a show. And then it says, I can't help you with that. And then I ask a second time, and it's like, all right, well, here's a convoluted interface, but like, I think there's some places you could stream this. Yes, you're right. It is very bizarre. My camera battery is about to die, so that's the red light telling me to wrap it up.
That means we're done.
We're done. All right.
But yes, callers. I think callers could be good.
Yeah.
Let's give it a shot.
Let's try it. Let's keep doing it. And as always, if you want your question on the show, if you want to be a call-in person in a future episode, you got to join the Facebook group. That's where the action happens. Search Unofficial Shopify Podcast on Facebook. Join the Unofficial Shopify Podcast Insiders, and we will discuss with you what ails you. And, of course, leave a review. Oh, my gosh. I noticed we have an excellent 4.8 rating. can we get it to 4.9? That's what I'm going for.
Will it drop to 4.7?
All right, and my camera officially died, so we're going out on a shot of you. All right, thank you, Mr. Rita.
Okay,
Talk soon.
Bye, everybody.